Welcome everyone to the Prison Architect How To, Jabber 1008, and in this episode we're going to be completing the rest of our main cell block here, filling it out with cells, and whatever rooms we need that we haven't yet built. There's only a few left, even though it looks like there's a lot. Most of this area will be covered by cells. In this episode we're also going to be covering the clone tool. So I'll be showing how that works, and we'll be using that to fill out most of the areas where we're going to have cells. So I'll unpause this, and we're actually going to slow this down a bit. So we'll go step by step and kind of building out these blocks. The first room I want to build is the shop. Now, we covered last episode how our prisoners are going to be able to work in the prison now, and they earn money from those jobs. And they also just get money, I think, like an allowance anyways. So where they spend that money is in your shop. This is something that's relatively new and was added in one of the more recent alphas. We're actually going to leave that empty. Now, these are all going to be cells, except for right here. And the reason for that is once this is built, we're going to have a shop window here. So we'll add our shop. And it's going to be 5 wide. I think it needs to be 4 by 4, but we're going to actually build it a little bit bigger. We're going to, the objects we need for the shop is shop shelves, table for sorting, objects that come in for sale, and then the shop front. So we'll do a table here. We'll actually add some shelves at the back here, around here. And we'll actually add another table in the middle here. And once the window once the wall gets built, we'll have to put the window in. Now, you need a wall to place it, so we'll have to wait until that's finished. It'll be done in just a few seconds. I always like to place it right next to the door. We'll place it there. And this is another area where your prisoners can work. So it's more labor opportunities, more reform opportunities. One of the other things we need to do is our chapel, and this is where prisoners will get their spiritual guidance program. So for the chapel, it only needs to be 5 wide, but we're actually going to build it 6. And the reasoning behind that is you can do a prayer mat, row prayer mats on each side, and then the pews will fit inside in the middle. We'll add those, and then you need an altar at the front. So that'll be our chapel. What else do we need? We also need our library. Now for your library, prisoners will work there and sort the books. I think some of your workmen will too. They deliver the books to the library. But the prisoners who work there will need to pass the foundation education course. So it might take a little bit to get some workers in there. So we'll add our library. Where is it? I'll add it here. And we'll actually add some doors. We need to close some of these areas off as we do this. For the library, you just need library shelves. We're actually going to build these all the way around. And the only other thing you need is a sorting desk. But we're going to actually build 2, 1 on each side. And make sure this door is open. Same with this one. And now we have our library. So as you can see, we pretty much have one of everything. I'm trying to see. I don't normally build the mail room. I haven't for a little bit. It was buggy in the past. I don't know if it still is. So we're going to leave it go. One other thing I forgot to build before for our workshop is forestry. And we'll just build this right outside. And this will be where trees are planted and chopped down to supply the workshop. And like I said before, gardeners will plant the trees and your workmen will chop them down. So I'll just place that there for now. You can get fancy and close it with the fence and doors and stuff. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Did we get a servo placed up here? We did. So one other thing I want to do while I'm up here, set this to normal, and we actually want to connect. We'll just assign 1 to that. So, as I said, we'll discuss the clone tool this episode. Now, The clone tool is a very powerful tool, and it can also screw things up immensely if you're not careful with it. And this goes back to when I was first discussing foundations in the first episode and auto lights. If you use the clone tool, generally you're going to want to have auto lights turned off when you build further blocks and clone stuff out. We didn't do that for this, so we're going to have some light bulb duplicates, but that's okay. So with the clone tool, it copies everything but utilities. So we'll get all the objects within here. Even the laundry baskets, which is okay. We'll end up with some extra ones. If it gets too bad, you can always dismantle some later. So you right click, and this is as big as it can get. If you go down more, it will start shifting like that. So this is as big as you can cover. I don't even know how big that is. 12 by 12 is the biggest you can get. So what I'll do is when I place this, I'm gonna copy everything from that selection area and place it. And we're actually going to do another. And this saves from having to place a bunch of objects individually. So you just go through your prison and place stuff. Now what's going to happen here, because there's a gap in here, we're going to end up with a gap up here. And that's okay, because I'm actually going to place a door there in the end. But be aware of that you'll get gaps in certain areas where you might not want them. There, and this is going to be another cell block. Again, we're going to end up with a gap there unless I do this. Now I'll save us from having that gap. And we also have some areas where we're going to have 3 cells. So, like in here. And this is actually going to be 4 there, so I actually want to... It's that simple. Now we have plenty more cells that are going to be built. Well, we're going to get up to, I think, like something like 96 cells with this setup. 95. Yep, because we have this up here. I'm going to pause this real quick. Now, just like any other objects, you can place this real quick. And then what we're going to do is actually cancel this stuff right there and unmark that room for a shop. And like I said, the one thing it doesn't do is copy utilities. So we're going to have to install utilities in all these cell blocks. That's actually not too many for electrical. We ran a lot of that already, but we do need to run water. So that's water there. Run water up to there, and down to here, of course. And then we're going to need to run small pipes. And this is tedious, and you know, this is something that I hope when they make the final version of the game, it also clones utilities. I think it doesn't, because it would cause issues if you build your utilities out a little bit differently and it doesn't mimic exactly like your cell block. I guess it could cause issues. It'd be nice to have a toggle for that, whether it includes utilities or not. So we'll add all our small pipes. Now, like I said, this is tedious. We're going to go through it real quick. And we can actually unpower them with these guys to start installing some of this stuff. Now, with having prisoners already in the prison, your workmen might get slowed down by the jail doors. So they might get slowed down a little bit. We have enough guards now; they should be able to open doors for them and stuff. So hopefully that doesn't slow them down too bad. Build that out. Placing lots of small pipes. You can even get fancy, like if you're building a big block at once, you can go across the whole way and just cancel in the middle, but we already have those done, so that doesn't matter. Alright, and our workers will build all that out, and you can see they're just bringing tons of stuff in. I'll actually speed this up. And while you're doing this, you can actually, even though we're going to be fulfilling a lot of them, we'll take cell block B, and that's to 50 cells. And these will actually finish out. As you can see, we have guards running up and down, opening doors for all these guys, so this will all get built out. One other thing we do need to do, since that didn't cover it, we need to build walls right there, finish off that block. And you also have to, if you do it the way I did, you also have to add jail doors in. Just some of these. I think most of them are covered already, but yeah, that one needed jail doors. And then we're actually going to connect up to our large hallway up here. And as you're doing this kind of stuff, and we build a lot of foundations, always be checking your deployment, and I wasn't, so as you can see that got marked off to shared. We definitely want that staff only. As you can see, we have a lot of stuff going off for the utilities right now, but they'll finish that last. Oh, and one other thing we need to do is, if you're wondering what this is going to be, this is actually going to be a second canteen. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. So we'll build that out real quick. And we can't use the clone tool because it's actually a mirror of the other one. So we'll have to build this out individually. Come on. Sometimes you have to zoom way in to get this stuff to pop up, the recommended objects. So we'll build this out. Oh, you know what? I meant to leave a gap there. And one other thing we need to do, of course, is the bins. Again, they're not required, but they're recommended. Not just by me, but the game actually recommends them. I might just recommend them in general, though. I don't know. Move off of that. Yeah, it looks like I might just recommend them in general. I don't know if that's if you don't have any or if you have a lot of trash. Oh, we finished enough cells. We're up to 61. And we'll have our other canteen done, and that'll help handle the numbers that we have. And we can actually take more prisoners in now. We're going to just do, again, well, we'll do 16 at a time. And one other thing we'll need to do is finish out our yard. Fill this all in with grass. Oh, a dog found some cigarettes, it looked like. I missed it. And if you want to chop down trees real quick, you can actually just use the dismantle objects. I want all these trees actually gone. Some of them didn't get marked because there's already grass there. And we can use our clone tool actually to clone these areas. So that's going to match this spot, and this spot, this spot, and this will be the mirror. Oh, that's actually another phone booth though. We'll worry about placing the other stuff later. So there, and there, and we can use this to clone this lower side. And all we need to do is add in our radio. And you can see how fast this gets when you use the clone tool. It makes a lot of the stuff that was tedious before a lot better. We need to add some phone booths in. Some weight benches. I think that's it. The only other thing we need to do is make sure this is filled in. Where we took that tree down. I don't know if there's any other areas that need to be filled in. What we can actually do... Now you can see the walkways are shown green, and they could get replaced with grass, but we don't want to do that. Just making sure there weren't any other spots that popped up. So it fills out our yard. Our yard now has plenty of exercise equipment, radios, phones, places to set, you know, for our prisoners. I don't know if there's anything left to research. Just our legal stuff. I'll hire a lawyer later. This stuff, I can just go over it real quick, actually. I'll just cover in this episode real quick. Legal will cover you if you get in trouble, so you can research this as prep. And then if you get in trouble, you can actually do legal defense. So if you have too many prisoners die, you'll get a call from the CEO, and he'll call you up and say, hey, there's too many prisoners died. If you have 5 more deaths, you're going to be put in jail. You actually end up in your own jail. Poetic justice, I guess. So if you have that problem, you can actually do legal defense if you think you're not going to be able to make it through the day without less than 5 deaths. So this will take care of that. This other stuff has to do with death row. Well, these two has to do with death row and then reduce execution liability. That's in case you execute somebody who's innocent. And we can also do small cells and permanent punishments. Permanent punishments I actually do recommend. You can put problem prisoners permanently in solitary or in lockdown if you want to. So that's our main cell block, and what you can do is you essentially make multiples of these. In fact, I can draw in where the next one's going to be for me, and so we'll do large jail door there, large jail door there. And so once you get really ambitious, you can just make sure you build that. That'll be another set of 32 cells. And you can build across 44 by 19. That'll be a set of the other rooms that you need. We'll go up here. We gotta make sure we cover this wall in here. So this will be 44 by 19 again. You gotta make sure you build the wall in here. It becomes that simple. Your workers will finish out this block. And we'll actually add a door just to make sure they get out into the open area. And then you can fill this in as you need more cells. And you just build multiples of those as you go around your prison. And fill it out as needed. And you'll need to build more of the support structures as you go along too. But you'll build those out here on the periphery. And you can actually, what I'll usually do is build a gap here of a cell block wide, so another 11 gap or 10 gap, so wall 10, then another wall, and continue this 5 wide hallway, and then I'll build, you know, another big block out here. And what you can actually do, since we're doing it, you can actually buy more land, and we'll hit this and it'll lag a little bit, but as you can see now we have more land, and that'll give us the space to build more blocks. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to turn auto lights off. And what I'm gonna actually do, if you forget to turn auto lights off, just go over, since these all need to be installed, go over your whole, oh, I got that foundation still being built, go over the whole area that you just had made, and see some lights already got installed, but that's okay, we got most of them, and so now we don't have to worry about the lights being in there. Wait for them to finish that last block, and that's how you build your prison. And you can just build on it from there and get more and more prisoners. As you get more prisoners, they'll get paroled out. I have the hiccups, sorry about that. As you get more prisoners, you can parole them out, and you parole them out, and once you do that, you get kind of a conveyor system going. You know, you'll get more prisoners in, but as you do, prisoners getting paroled out, you get money from that, and so you just kind of cycle that and keep a cycle going and bringing prisoners in and sending them out. And if you do it right and take the right number of prisoners in and pay attention to how many you're paroling, kind of guess, you know, what I should show is, oh, we can't do it, we only have one prisoner. As you go along, you can see how many prisoners have been paroled and kind of make a guess. I think it might even tell you the rate that they're paroled early. I can't remember, but you can see how many are paroled early and the percentage, I think. So if like it's 80%, you know, 4 out of every 5 that are going to a parole meeting are being paroled. So you can kind of judge that. If you have 50 going or if you have 50 up for parole, you know 40 are probably going to go, and you can kind of plan to bring 40 more in. Or if you want to grow, you can bring more than that in. You are limited with the pool, so to speak, of what prisoners you have. But, you know, most of the time you can bring enough prisoners in, and you can bring minimum in and normal and maximum. And so doing that, and you can even bring death row in, though you'll get those very few and far between. But with that, you can usually bring enough prisoners in to keep your prison rolling. As you can see, building this prison as we've had it right now, we're up to almost 700,000 in debt. So we've spent even more than that because we've made some money along the way. I also made a land purchase, so that was 80,000 on its own. That's how you build your basic prison, and you can expand from there and do different things from there. That's the main gist of it. Now, this isn't the last episode. We're going to do one more episode, and we're going to cover fighting contraband, prison policy, logistics, and advanced patrols to keep your prison, once you have it built and have prisoners coming in, to keep it up and running nicely. So I'm Jabber1008, this is the Prison Architect How-To series, and I hope you tune in for the next episode. Thank you.